You know, Father's Day is coming up this weekend, and I may be doing some video footage from my Father's Day event this Sunday with my family. I have some things to say about Father's Day and why it's important for fathers to focus on positive reinforcements for the children. And I do mean positive. Let me explain a little bit more about that, shall we? This is DJ Wolf, and this is DJ Wolf Live. All right, guys. What I was trying to say when I mean positive reinforcements, and it's important for fathers to fulfill this for their children, because number one, you have a legacy to continue. All right, that's number one. Number two, you want any father, and I've said this to my son, and I've always preached this on many of my podcasts. Any man who don't want better or don't strive better, now I'll say in this case strive, who don't strive better or don't strive for the betterment of the children and for the benefit of the children, if you don't strive them to include positive reinforcements, what father are you? What kind of father are you? Seriously. You want betterment for your children. You want to be able to strive for betterment for your children. You want to have your children have a little bit better of a life than you had, because your life might not be as good as you thought it was, but it could be a little bit better for your future, for your children's futures. And in other words, you know, if you struggled and you had to scrape and as a child live at home without a father, you know, and you had still all this mess going on in your neighborhoods, why would you want your kids to live like that? Not me. I'm actually glad that I strive as a father so that my kids could have a little bit better life than I had, or start out better than I did. And my son actually did, in a lot of respects. Father's Day is for those fathers who are about the business and have been about the business of taking care of their children. Father's Day is not for fathers who just decide to make a baby and tell me I'm a father because I made a baby and had nothing else to do with the children. That's not being a father. That goes out for anybody who had kids. Any man who has had children over the years. Having kids don't necessarily make you a father, especially if you ain't been a father. Being a father is about a man who put out positive reinforcements to the children. A man who doesn't put down and constantly put down his children. A man who doesn't bear his marriage to his children. I've seen that personally, trust me. I think that's one of the worst things you can do, is put the bearing the pressure of your marriage or the burden of your marriage on your kids. Your kids wasn't married to you. Your wife was married to you. How dare you? How fucking dare you? You know, that's the one thing your kids should not have to worry about, is the burden of your marriage. I went through that. Okay, not me as a husband, but me as a and not me as a father, but me as a son went through that. You know? And not only are you messing with the children by doing that, you're actually disrespecting your own kids by doing that. Because you're putting that burden on them means it's up to them to try to help you make you happy. And it's not. It's not. That's not their burden to carry. Okay? I'm just stating facts. And I'm not talking out loud about it at all. Because there are people that do that. Well, yeah, daddy wasn't shit or your mama wasn't shit. Fuck that. You don't do that. You don't do that. You know? It's the one thing that turns a lot of the kids against the parents doing that kind of stuff. You know? It really turns them against their own family at times. You know? Because that's basically what you're doing. As a father and as a man, you're supposed to build your family, not tear them down. You're supposed to be about family, not tear them down. That's how you destroy families. By pitting one family member against the other. I don't give a damn what y'all going through. I mean, you got to be honest with the situation. Depends on the situation that you have to be honest about. About, like, why your mommy and daddy had got a divorce. You don't have to go into specifics about that. But you do have to be specific that, okay, we can't live together anymore. Okay? And if you have to explain the basic reasons for it, that's fine. But to go into all the semantics about, well, she was out here doing, and he was out here, them kids shouldn't have to worry about that. It ain't the kids' burden or their business. All they need to know, hey, we ain't together, we don't get along that much anymore, we got to do our own thing. That's it. End of story. But when you go into all of vernacular and personal attacks against the other spouse in the marriage and for your kids, it makes you both look bad. You know. But that's not what fatherhood's about. If you think that's about fatherhood, let me give you a news flash. No, it's not. No man should be doing that. Period. No man. Period. Take it from somebody who went through that shit. As a son. Positive reinforcements. Encouraging your kids, not discouraging them. Okay? At times, if you need to nurture them at times, yeah, it may take that. Just to let them know you're there in the corner. You know? That's what fatherhood's about. Fatherhood is about growing and developing your children. Not abandoning them. Not running around all night in the streets, coming home, next day, hang out with somebody else for a weekend, every weekend. Well, for the last several years. And you're not around that much. Or in the case with myself, you know, you try and do positive things at a church or something. You ain't running the streets, you ain't smoking no weed, you're not getting girls pregnant, and yet you still get lambasted for working in the church doing the Lord's work. And be ridiculed. That's not what being a father's about. And I'm sorry to say it. That doesn't make you a good father for doing that kind of shit. Yeah, you can buy groceries and keep your kids fed and have a roof over their head. You know? But it takes more than that. Positive reinforcements is the number one reason and the number one key to being a good dad. Number one. Besides the other stuff obvious stuff that you should be doing in the first place. You should be taking care of your kids. You should be putting a roof over their heads. You know? You should be keeping them safe at night. Cool in the summer. Warm in the winter. That's your job. A lot of these fathers think they're supposed to get an award for that shit. And they'll tell you about it verbatim. Well, you know, I did all this and I did, you know. Okay, we know. Give the kids the opportunity to soak up and appreciate what you've done for them instead of you always wearing this shit as a badge on your sleeve. Because a lot of fathers do that. You know? Fatherhood is more like being there for your kids without having to wear it as a badge on your sleeve. Okay? doing is just as good in some cases, if not better, than talking. Because at least you are taking actions and not, how can I put it, wearing your heart on your sleeve 24/7, talking about how great of a father you are. Don't talk about how great of a father you are if you're being a good father. If you know you're a good father, just keep being a good father. You know? Because that's what being a father is about. Also, when those kids are out there, you know, playing sports and stuff like that, let them kids be kids. So a lot of fathers some fathers are not like that. You know, if you could tell, some of the stuff I'm telling you is from personal experience that I had to deal with as a son. You know, I'm not going to go into any details other than that. You know. But I also say this. If your father wasn't the father that he should have been, he's still your father nevertheless. You still give him that props every year. Because after all, if it wasn't for your father, you probably wouldn't be here listening to me. And I probably wouldn't be talking to you. Because deep down, I do know that. Some of us has been raised in our communities know that we've had some terrible fathers. But you still gotta give them that benefit of the doubt regardless. I go see my folks at least my dad at least once a year. I probably saw some people, I said, you should go see more than that. And I've had people say, well, man, you should be happy to be around. Okay. Now I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not always happy around him. Because sometimes he doesn't always make you feel the most welcome at times. And a lot of us have fathers like that. I mean, keep it real. But I do know that I don't forget the fact that if it wasn't for me if it wasn't my father not being there in my life, there's no telling what really, to be honest, would have happened to me, or what would have happened to me up to this point. Real talk. I probably would have never finished school. Because there's a good chance I wouldn't have. You know? And that's just for starters. I probably would have had about 4 or 5 women with 6, 7 different kids. I'm talking about me. You know? I probably would have had a larger family. You know, like 4 or 5 sisters and brothers, and some I probably never knew in the first place, and a bunch of other stuff. I probably would have been in jail for doing something stupid, or on drugs, or dead. If it wasn't for the likes of my father. My father wasn't perfect, but he did keep me on the straight and narrow for 20 plus years that I lived at home. You know, that's real talk. I can't deny it. You know, every year for the last several years, I've always tried to send something home for him. Maybe like gift cards or some monetary money for him, you know, to go out and enjoy himself for Father's Day. I don't forget that. You know. I know some of you say, well, I never got to know my father. If you never got to know your father, then be the father that your father never was. Because even in my case, I very much strive to be the father that my father never was. There's a lot of things me and my father didn't do, and I lived at home with him. He lived at home with us. And I'm being very serious about it. A lot of things. We didn't play ball. We didn't go to ball games. We didn't do nothing like that. We didn't go, and we didn't camp and fish, forget about it. We didn't do any of that stuff. But guess what I did with my son? We went camping. We went fishing. Okay? We went fishing a few times. We went camping a few times. We went on vacation. We went on vacation quite a few times. You know, different places. We played ball. Matter of fact, about 11 years ago, we were down in Myrtle Beach. We had our own beach house that we rented out for the week. We played basketball every day. Okay? I didn't even know he had skills like that. I allowed my son to play Little League football with the Boys and Girls Club, and he got to play baseball and basketball, when he was young. He played all three of them when he was around about maybe 6, 7 years old. I've been playing football since I think he was 5. That was something else I didn't get to do with my dad. I was even the coach for the first or second year he played football. So, that's always a good thing. I was there for him. Regardless of what problems I had with his mother at the time or not, I was there for my son. See, a lot of us guys married or single, and I noticed that. We always have issues, dramas with the mama, but then again, we take it and put the burden of that issue with the mamas on our kids. And I think that's wrong as fuck. You should never let your relationship separate you from your children in terms of that. Okay? You should always try to maintain a good relationship with your children, regardless of what dramas you have with the mama. Those kids were not the cause of that problem. Whatever happened between you and the baby's mama is between you and the baby's mama. Leave the kids out that mess. Trust me when I say this. I went through that as a child for many years. And in some cases, even as an adult, I had to deal with that mess. But one day I just said, no, not dealing with this mess no more. Not. And I got to a point where I don't even bring my folks up to each other anymore like that. Because one always get mad about the other, think about, blah, blah. I want to hear it. It makes me sad when kids are in the middle of parental drama. Okay? It was so bad for me, and I don't have a problem saying it because I went through this before and I've said it before. It was so bad for me, and maybe I shouldn't be saying it, but I got depressed. I got really depressed to a point when I was at the age of 8, and this is why it's important for you to really talk to your children. At the age of 8, I had thought about suicide. That's how stressful that was. I was 8 years old thinking about ending my own life. And I told my mother that. My mother went off. She said, don't you dare think about that. Here's the weird part about it, though. I didn't see a child psychiatrist because of that until 3 years later, knowing that she knew that. Really? Yeah, she went off. She never once said that I can recall that me and your daddy need to stay keep you out of that because this has nothing to do with you, and we need to really think about what we're doing as far as destroying our kids by making them kind of statements. She never done that. I've never heard that. That mess with them two continued on to the time I left Cleveland. And I'm being honest about it. But yeah, I did. I actually thought about doing that because I couldn't stand it anymore. I lived with that at the time most of my life, all of my life at the time, and it was just a bit too much. I saw the drama that went on, moving here and there because of that, and at the time it was about to take its toll on me. We talking about circa 1972. All right. And that's why I said, your relationship with your kids, you should keep that separate from your relationship with your wife or your girlfriend or baby mom. You really should. Because when you, like somebody said on one of the, damn, this traffic is crazy. Like somebody said on one of the radio programs, when you do that with that other significant other in front of you, you're putting the pressure on the ones who love you the most. Can you get over, man? No. Because at some point I'm getting over, or somebody gonna get this shit smashed. Y'all some assholes here today. These guys don't even have enough gumption to let you over. Jeez. It's really bad out at night, man. But, you know, like somebody was saying on the radio earlier about, you know, when you get involved in making statements like, oh, your mom ain't this, your daddy ain't that, it don't just affect each other when they do it. It affects the children too. It affects their psyche. Because then you got them forming their own thoughts about what they really think about their parents after they hear what you're saying about each other. You know? Because I've been in situations where parents had thought about pitting each other with the children. Yeah. Well, who you want to be with? I mean, I'm talking about, like, oh, you know she ain't no good, blah, blah. You know, and it kind of makes you not want to deal with it at all. And that's what happened with me at the time. You know? And even up to about, maybe about a year or 2 years ago, my folks were still doing the same thing. Oh, yeah, where you gonna stand? Oh, yeah, I'm gonna be over there. I mean, come on. Really? Fathers and mothers should never do that shit. If anything, like in the case of me and my wife, you know, there's things I explained to my son about that he needed to know, and then some things he didn't need to know. I told him, I said, look, you know, because he does have a very wonderful mother. He does. I said, I wish my mother was more like that. I wish my mother was 10 times as supportive as my wife is with my son, because she really does support him in terms of whatever he wants to do, his endeavors and all that. She always has his back. Always has his back. And as a father, I had his back too. You know, real talk. But I always speak highly of his mother because I want him to respect his mother no matter what we're throwing at each other. And I've told him that. I said, I don't care what may be going between me and your mom, be it right or be it wrong on either side. I want you to show her nothing but respect and love. I've told him that. And he does. He really do. He always have. To this day. You know. I can honestly say we've had, and I'll admit to that, we've had fights. We've had a couple of nasty fights, but it's been rare. But it was at a point around about 2000, 2001, where my wife and I realized that firsthand that it was starting to take a toll on my son's grades, and we just stopped. We stopped fighting like that. When we were fighting, you know, but unlike my folks, we stopped. They continued for many years. You know, so if you see a point where the fighting is affecting your kids, man, best to reverse it and don't do it, and have a talk with them about why it was wrong for you guys to be doing it in front of him, and that you guys love him and you need to respect each other. You know, for the sake of, not only for the sake of the kids, but let the kids know you respect your mommy, you respect your daddy. Okay? Regardless of what we dealing with, y'all, you respect each other. You respect one and the other. One and the other, rather. In other words, we still love you. Son, respect your mother. Mother says, respect your daddy. Okay? He there for you. And need to be there for you. And will be there for you. I didn't get that same kind of message. You know, never did. To this day. Really. But I'm not going to go through all that. All I know is that real fathers, you know, are about the business of making sure that regardless of what they go through in their situations, that their kids are the number one priority on everything they love. And that's a fact. Real talk. Because you got guys out here that aren't about the kids being number one and the priority. A lot of them aren't. Many of them aren't. You know? But they get to call themselves fathers. But Father's Day is also a time where fathers should be able to be reflected and respected. Because Mother's Day, they were out the wood for Mother's Day. Father's Day was never really taken seriously for a long time. I think it's slowly starting to be taken seriously. But one time it wasn't really like that. I can tell you right up front. I'm proud to have been the father to my 20-something-year-old son. And nieces and nephews at times. Because they need that. They need that male reinforcement in life every now and then. Seriously. Female reinforcement alone don't do it. And you got black women out there to try to fool you with that bullshit and say, oh yeah, mama can be a daddy. No, they cannot. Ain't a mother on the damn planet can be a father better than a man. Not a one. And yes, I said it. Nope. Period. If you say that they can, you are dead wrong. And I know what you're going to say. Well, why you say that? Because they ain't a man. They weren't even biologically born to be a man. And they don't think the same way men do. And women shouldn't be thinking the same way men do. Period. Because you ain't men. But that's another gets into a gray area there. Another whole story. But on the real note, though, I say again, I'm proud to have been a father to my son. I'm proud to have been his corner, whether it was good or whether it was bad or whatever. I'm glad to have I stayed in his life like real men should. I didn't want to just talk about being a father. I wanted to be the father that my father never had. Not perfect, because I wasn't perfect either, but more well-rounded for him as a father than my dad was for me. Not bringing in any drama about anything to do with anybody else other than his issues in our relationship as a father and son. No other baggage. No other baggage whatsoever. Because when you bring all that extra baggage in, that's where you kind of water down the relationship and devalue it by doing that. And that's a fact. Because I went through the gamut on that many times over. Whew, boy, this traffic is killing me tonight. I can't get around edgewise. So, with that in mind, this your boy DJWOLF here. I think I'm going to do a special podcast on fathers this weekend. So look out for it. Because I do have more to say. I just wanted to get this out the way. Alright guys, this is DJWOLF. That's all I got to say. I will have more to say on the back burner about that. And other news of the day as well. Of course, as always, questions or comments, I can be reached at on Twitter, DJWOLF for all to hear on Twitter. DJWOLF Live on Facebook, which will also be known as DJWOLF page. Not all one word, DJWOLF, then hit the space bar, page on Facebook. I can also be reached on my emails which is not all my two emails, DJWolfLive@AOL.com and DJWolfLive@gmail.com. Alright, so that's it, guys. That's all I got right now. I'm trying to take some equipment back so I can actually look at this new MPC I'm considering getting for my music environment. Because I promised my brother I was going to give him my old one. I'm debating about that because I know he's probably not going to use it. That's actually not here. So what happened tonight? Oh, that's why so much traffic out here tonight. Okay, I see what's happening. Oh, God, they blocked it both sides. All right, guys. Well, let me get off here. It's DJWOLF Live. And I'm DJ Wolf. I'm out.